Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sina, and if you're new here, welcome. Today's video, we are going to be talking all about the new Subculture palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, or ABH. And before I jump right into it, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell right next to it, so that way you can get notifications whenever I upload new videos, which I do a lot of beauty reviews and tutorials, so check out my past videos as well. So this is the second time that I'm filming this because the first one got deleted for some reason. But anyway, so this is what the Subculture palette, and as you guys see, the packaging looks exactly like the Modern Renaissance palette, which I love and adore. But this palette is retailing right now for $42 at AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com, Sephora, and Ulta, and anywhere else that they carry Anastasia Beverly Hills, I believe. This is a regular on the Anastasia Beverly Hills line. So comparing one from the other, you can see that the Modern Renaissance has that pink packaging, and the Subculture has this nice jungle greenish blue color, and the Subculture is in yellow lettering. So when you open this, you are getting a mirror just like the Modern Renaissance palette. It's the same exact thing, and this is what the palette looks like. So the palette looks absolutely beautiful just by looking at it, and comparing this to the Anastasia Beverly Hills, you can see that there's a big difference between what you are getting. So with the Modern Renaissance, you're getting a lot of those warm reddish pinkish colors, and with the Anastasia Subculture palette, you're getting a lot more of that warm, cool, middle tone and neutral earthy tones type of shade. So I feel like this palette is actually really unique, being that there's a lot of different colors in here that are not seen in the regular palette. Alright, so let's jump right into the swatches. I did swatch this with my fingers and also with the brush that it came with. So this two shade Electric and Adorn are your two shades that I use the flat shader brush end of this brush, and everything else in here are swatches that I've done with the look at that, with the blending brush. So the first shade that I have here is called Cube. Cube is described as a duochrome pink pearl shade, and this shade is actually okay. It's decent. I didn't expect the payoff to have that somewhat of a pink tone to it, but it's unexpected, and it's still very beautiful. The next shade is called Dawn. Dawn is an ultra matte sand shade. So this shade blends really nice, but it kind of oxidized a little bit. The next shade is called Destiny, and Destiny is an ultra matte sage green shade, and this one also oxidized, and when I applied this on my crease area, it looked patchy and darker than what it's showing in the pan. Now the shade Adorn is a metallic bronzy shade. So this is the only metallic shade that is included in this palette. And then the next shade is called All Star, and this is a beautiful shade. I did use this in the outer corners of my eyes. Again, it did oxidize a little bit, and you can tell that from comparing my eyes to the color in the pan, it's not the same. But this shade is described to be an ultra matte vintage wine shade. Now the shade Mercury is an ultra matte slate gray shade, and this is one of the more unique shades in here, but also very patchy and a lot of fallout. Now the shade Axis is an ultra matte blue green shade, also has a lot of fallout in it. Very pigmented though, but you have to watch out for the fallout. The shade Roxy is an ultra matte muted coral shade, and this one is beautiful full transition shade but has a lot of fallout. The shade Electric is a duochrome lime gold shade, and this is what you're seeing in the inner part of my eyes, and it does not play well with the matte shades, but I'm gonna go over more into that later. And I had to dig my brush in there in order for me to be able to get this more vibrant look. And this shade is also a little bit patchy when you apply it on. And then the shade Fudge is an ultra matte warm brown shade, and this shade is also in the Anastasia's regular line. A lot of people have said that the swatch of this shade does not swatch with the regular one. It doesn't seem like it is the same formula. Now the shade New Wave is an ultra matte citron orange shade. This is also one of the more beautiful shades that are in here, but also a lot of fallout. Now the shade Untamed, very patchy, a lot of fallout, and this shade is described as an ultra matte tarnished green shade, but the more you blend it, the more it gets darker and the more that it moves. It's so weird because it oxidizes and then it becomes this one big patch of color on your eyes that you never intended for it to happen. Now the shade Edge is an ultra matte gold mustard shade. Again, this is a beautiful shade but has a lot of fallout in it. The last shade here is called Rowdy. Now Rowdy is described as an ultra matte blackened purple shade, and this shade is very pigmented but also has a lot of fallout in there. And yes, I mean, all in all of these eyeshadows have major fallout, with the exception of Adorn, Electric, and Cube. So all of these are matte shades except for these 3 shades, and the rest of these shades have fallout in them. When I look at an eyeshadow palette, I look for blendability, less fallout, and pigmentation. Now, the Modern Renaissance palette is in the middle of that. I feel like ABH has perfected their formula with the eyeshadows because a lot of people love the formula of this eyeshadows. But with this Subculture palette, for some reason, there's a lot of fallout in it. It's not the same consistency as the Modern Renaissance palette. It just raises the question as to what changed. So when I looked in the back, I compared it, and you can tell, you don't have to really read the ingredients because you can tell just by looking at these two from what's in the back. You can tell that they have changed the formula from the Modern Renaissance palette to the Subculture palette. So they either cheaped out or they've released this earlier than expected. So that's why they just kind of like didn't care about it. For me, I would rather have a perfect palette rather than a rushed palette. And I'm not saying that it's a rushed palette, but in a way it kind of is, because if you're looking at the back and you're looking at 2 different ingredients between these two, then something is wrong. Something must have happened that they either felt that it was okay to release a palette that's not perfect, or they felt like it was perfect because it was very pigmented, but it's super hard to blend. The eyeshadows oxidized on me, and I don't know if you can see that, but I did use the shade All Star out here on my eyes, but you can see that there's a difference between this shade and the shade that I have right here. It's not consistent, and you can see that this part of my eye is a little bit darker than what's on here. So I don't know what's going on, but it's only on the crease area where it's a little bit darker. With this shade Electric, it just sat on top of my lids. It's not blending, so you can see it right here. I look a hot mess right now, so you can see right over here there's a lot of patchiness going on, and I've dug my finger and I've dug this flat shader brush to apply some colors under here, and it's not doing it, and it's just sitting on top, and that's what's pissing me off, because it's not really blending, and you can see it right here. It's not really blending. It looks like a patch right there which is so weird. Also, the shade underneath my eyes is called Axis. The shade right here is what I used, and there's tons and tons of fallout. I mean, granted, it is super pigmented, but it's hard to blend when it's that pigmented, you know what I mean? Yeah, so you can see it right there, and now it's like, looking at this, it's turning into a black shade. It's not what I applied earlier. That's not the shade that I picked earlier in there. And another thing that I wanted to add is that my whole shirt, I'm wearing this black shirt, and my whole shirt has eyeshadow fallout everywhere. So I have to dust my shirt because of the fallout, and that's kind of annoying. I will totally give this a thumbs down. I'm sorry, no, but I am giving this a 4 out of 10. I'm sorry. But yes, that is it. I will see you guys again next time. I hope that this was helpful, and let me know if you guys got this palette or not, and if you had the same experience as I did. But let me know down in the comment section. I will see you guys again next time. Please don't forget to like, comment, and also subscribe to my channel. I will see you in my next video. I love you. Bye.